information shared on Girl Pray On It is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Although I am a licensed mental health counselor, I'm not your therapist. Unless, of course, you're one of my clients. In that case, I am your therapist, and I'll see you in our next session. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapeutic relationship between us. If you are experiencing emotional distress or a mental health crisis, please seek support from a licensed mental health provider in your area or contact a crisis line. Always pray on it, and also reach out when you need help.
But not to us. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Aisha.
And this
is Girl Pray On It. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yep.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How often do you check the comments on your social media profiles?
Like the pictures that I post myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't posted in years.
Oh, okay. Well, how often do you look at other people's comments on their profiles? Like on TikTok, on Instagram?
If I see something wild going on in a video on social media, I will 100% check the comments and see what people are saying.
They are probably the best part of my experience on TikTok, right? On Instagram, not so much because it's kind of like a hater zone there, right? But how often do you see Haram police on there?
Yeah. Quite often. You will see it, especially on female Instagram. Sorry, female influencer pages. Yeah. Muslim women, their pages. I see a lot of positive content coming from other Muslim women. Yeah. And then you see a lot of hating coming from Muslim men, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Okay, what have I seen?
Yeah.
Well, most recently I was watching a TikTok last night, and unfortunately it was about a woman who was discussing the difficulties that she was experiencing with hijab, right? And how she's been struggling with wearing it for some time. And in the comments, someone said, just so you know, you're not wearing the hijab correctly, like in the video, like your neck is showing, I can see your hair and your arms are showing. And it was just like, how is that helpful? Why is that? Obviously, she's talking about struggling wearing the hijab.
Yeah.
And then you're going to add fuel to the fire.
Right.
By saying she's not wearing it correctly. Obviously, she's not wearing it. She probably knows that she's not wearing it correctly.
Yeah, that's
right?
the thing. That from what you're describing, it sounds like they were pointing out obvious things that she knows. Like I'm sure she posted the video. She knows what's showing and what's not showing.
Right, exactly. Right. It's not as if we're like, oh wow, my hair just came up. You could just see strands of my hair now. Oh, my neck. Oh, it all came undone, like in the, like on TV shows or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're presenting, you know what you look like in the mirror.
Yeah.
Unless you are actually blind, right? There's no way that you don't know what you look like, right?
Yeah.
And so to add that comment was just like, you just missed the entire point of the video. She's talking about how she's struggling. Right. And like, this was an opportunity to show support and be like, you know what? You'll get there eventually. You know, everybody takes their time when it comes to hijab, and like, we all have struggles and like anything that could have been super encouraging.
Right.
It was just like, and in the comments, she even said like, do you think this was helpful?
Right.
And the comment was like, well, I don't know if you knew or not. And it's like,
she literally posted the video. How would she not know?
I know. And it's that type of stuff that just really like grinds my gears, because it's like, what is the point of being like a monitor of other people, right?
Yeah.
And my whole thing is, instead of putting it in the comments, DM that person.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And ultimately, if you don't know this person in real life, you really shouldn't be even sending them these types of comments in real life, or like, you know, online, unless you have some sort of relationship with that person, you've at least met that person in real life.
Exactly.
But most of the time, it's people who don't know other people, like, you know, commenting like, you're not wearing the hijab properly, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then it's always behind this guise of, well, this person posted the video publicly so I can give public nasiha.
Mhm.
And it's like, not really, not like that, right? There's
Yeah.
still like, you should still have a level of, adab and, just niceness and like kindness to the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to what we talked about in other episodes about how on social media, people feel comfortable saying things that they wouldn't say in real life because
Yeah.
they're behind the screen and there's a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the end of the day, you wouldn't in a public forum just go up to somebody and be like, "You're not wearing your hijab right. Your neck and your hair is showing."
Mm-hmm.
We would hope that you would approach that subject a lot more delicately.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the Haram police, there are some people who are just malicious. Like
Mhm.
they just want to be mean or
Yeah.
like they just want to maybe there's like some arrogance in their heart and they just want to like kind of be better than the person who's posting the video.
Right.
I do think there probably is a large amount of people who their intention is like coming from a good place, but they just don't know, like they're just not doing a good job of communicating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, if you do want to have a conversation with someone, the I think most appropriate thing to do is to message them directly
Yeah.
and to approach it in a really sensitive, gentle, kind way.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more closely associated with the Sunnah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And so today we're not just talking about the Haram police, we're also talking about the myth of being the perfect Muslim woman, right? And these two things, I think, go hand in hand, especially in today's social media age, right? So what pressures have you felt to be the perfect Muslim woman, whatever that looks like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that specifically, if you are a Muslim woman who wears hijab, I think there's even more added pressure
Oh, yeah.
to be that perfect Muslim that you are, identifying, especially because our Islam is so visible. People can automatically look at us and know that we're Muslim, that
Right.
there's even more pressure to you feel almost like you're representing Islam or Muslim women.
I mean, you are representing
Right.
Islam, right?
You
like
are.
the whole purpose of wearing hijab
Right.
is so that you are visibly seen as a Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so in a way, I think that can be good because
Yeah.
that can maybe deter us from like doing things that maybe we shouldn't be doing. For example, like deterring us from maybe getting really angry about something and lashing out. Like we have to think for ourselves, like I'm wearing a hijab, I'm representing Islam and Muslim women. Maybe I need to like pull it back a bit and make sure that I am representing this religion in a positive light and showing that this is a positive thing. And at the other hand, it can be a lot of pressure to live up to these sort of expectations that people put on us.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I especially believe that like this idea of the perfect Muslim woman is often attached to hijabis, right? I think oftentimes, I don't know if I would say like there's less of an expectation on non-hijabis, but there's certainly is less like eyes on them,
Yeah.
right? On what they're doing or what they're not doing, right? And I think as hijabis, in addition to like representing the religion, we're also held to a higher standard versus like non-hijabis. Unfortunately, like the way in which we might move through the world is often scrutinized higher than a non-hijabi. Have you felt like that is the case for you?
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I've like sat down with someone who's Muslim but doesn't wear hijab and had this sort of conversation. But I think I could see why that might be true, especially because it's about the public scrutiny, right? I think all Muslim women will face scrutiny within their community or within their homes. But especially for hijabi women going out into the public eye and being this representative of Islam, I do think, yeah, there is more pressure and there is more expectation. I think, like, for example, if a person who was not wearing hijab was wearing short sleeves,
Mm.
that maybe wouldn't be like such a huge deal to the public
Right.
eye. But
Right.
if a hijabi was wearing short sleeves, it'd be like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they're both Muslim. Like
Right.
they're both, you
Supposed to
know,
be adhering to
so
levels of modesty. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. But like, as you said, the hijabi would be much more scrutinized.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
What are some expectations do you think that Muslim women have in terms of meeting this sort of idealized perfect Muslim woman type?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of like this myth of the perfect Muslim woman, it's obviously someone who wears hijab. Ideally, it's someone who wears abaya and even wears a niqab, right? She is quiet. She's, soft spoken. She doesn't have a loud or bright personality, right? All she does is, she goes to school or goes to work. She comes home, she prays, she cooks, she cleans, and she serves the other people in her family. And it is also like largely tied to this ideal, this like very patriarchal ideal of like what a woman should be, right? Quiet, demure, serves her family. If she's not serving her husband, then she's serving her father, her brothers, right? And there is a lack of like autonomy. This person, she doesn't desire to like have a career. She doesn't desire to have any type of identity outside of the man in which she's serving or the household she's serving, right? That's what I think a lot of people I idealize as being the perfect Muslim woman.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yes, I could see. Well, I would think that this is the male perspective
Yeah.
of what a perfect Muslim woman should be.
Mm-hmm.
This is this is a Muslim woman through the male gaze.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. 100%. Yeah. I mean, but when I think about it, like, oftentimes that's how this, like, archetype or this myth is formed is through the male gaze, right?
Yes.
What is attractive to the male population, specifically the Muslim male population, right? And even when I ask like, or not when I ask, but when I have heard from other Muslims, they've kind of adopted this ideology as well, right? They've adopted this like, well, like their life is like surrounded by getting married and that being their whole identity, right?
Yeah.
And so oftentimes the idea of like the perfect Muslim woman is often attached to a man, and it's never about who they want to be without a man by their side, right?
Right.
And so it's not like, oh, I believe a perfect Muslim woman is a woman who like prays 5 times a day. She reads her Quran. She knows her hadith. She has a strong career. She feels very confident in herself. She has lots of friends and a good support system. It is often through the lens of a male.
Yeah.
So when we think back to the expectations of women
Mhm.
and we compare those expectations of men, do you think that there's a double standard when it comes to what we expect of Muslim men versus Muslim women?
Absolutely. I think it's really clear that elements of modesty are so heavily placed on women. And we know that men have a dress code as well, and they have their own modesty that they are meant to preserve. And yet, when they don't, there doesn't seem to be as much of a backlash as there is for women. So, women will constantly be criticized for not wearing hijab or not wearing hijab the way that people deem is appropriate. And yet, men will wear short shorts and people won't think twice. And we know that for men,
Or they show the navel.
right, or they
Yeah.
show their belly button. So for men, they need to be covered from their up above their belly button down below their knees. And yet, I would say like a lot of Muslim men I know do not follow or adhere to those standards.
Right.
No one says anything.
Right.
So I think modesty especially is something that is so heavily placed on women, and so women are so heavily criticized about it, probably because those thoughts that people have or mentality that people have around male temptation, there's so much more heavy expectation and burden placed on women for their modesty, even though men are told to lower their gaze first and foremost.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people end up forgetting is that men actually have a lot more responsibility within this religion than women do.
Yeah.
Right? Like overall, in terms of maintaining other people's rights and ensuring that the Islamic standards are being met. Yeah, so I think a lot of people forget that men actually have a lot more responsibilities of upholding the standards that we have Islamically and maintaining them. And yet, I think men often get away with a lot more, right? Like right now in our modern landscape, men get away with dating, having sex, pretty much being buck wild until they decide that they want to actually settle down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point that you brought up as well, in terms of like, obviously in our religion, we are meant to wait until marriage to engage in intimacy. And yet in the West, we do see, obviously, with like more liberal progressive generations, it's happening a lot more when in terms of premarital sex.
Yeah.
And it's happening a lot from men. And yet there is a double standard where sort of men can sort of go out and party and engage in intimacy with women and still get married and maybe not even disclose that.
Yeah.
And yet there's so much expectation put on women that they should be virgins when they get married.
Yeah.
Even though we all should be virgins when we get married,
Right.
according to what the religion tells us.
Yeah.
That is an important doctrine in our religion. And I'm not making any comments or judgments about it, but simply put, the double standard that exists for men and women when it comes to premarital sex is just wild. I think that also really ties into this myth of the perfect Muslim woman, that she should not have ever looked at a man prior to getting married.
Right.
She should never have even spoken to a man prior to getting married.
Right.
Which, is just like totally not realistic.
Right. Yeah. And when I think about that, like, I often think of this like fantasy that a lot of Muslim men have is like, oh, they want to have a very demure, modest wife, right? And they also want them to be like a porn star, like behind closed doors, which is completely antithetical, like, to our upbringing, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is due to the double standard of like men can go out and do whatever they want and they're not held to account by their communities or by their families, right? And so then they have this expectation that women are going to be dutiful and obedient and like I said, demure and modest. And they're also going to be able to like sexually please their husband in a way that they've seen in media or even, in pornography, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if, a woman has never in her life done anything sexual, how is she going to know what to do after she get married? That's something that you have to work on together and figure out together without any sort of expectation. Yeah, it's unfortunate that these double standards exist and that there's so much pressure placed on women to fit this really narrow-minded perspective on what a perfect Muslim woman should be like.
Yeah.
And I know that it's causing a lot of mental health issues for women. Women are, we're seeing an increasing amount of women who are taking off their hijab because they're so frustrated with the expectations in the Muslim community
To be perfect.
And women are leaving Islam because they are seeing so much of the misogyny and sexism that's existing online on social media. So I think like, the expectation and the double standard and the misogyny that is happening is actually deterring women from Islam. And that's so sad and it's so upsetting.
Yeah, it is, right? And so what are some ways that you think we can combat this myth of the perfect Muslim woman? Obviously, there's always going to be Haram police around. That's just that I'm sure exists in every deeply religious community.
Yeah.
But how can we combat this harmful archetype of the perfect Muslim woman?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I think when we're talking about social media, we need to stop reading the comments. I know that's like easier said than done, but like stop feeding into this incessant haram police
Mhm.
on Instagram.
Mhm.
Like, don't look at it, don't read it. If someone truly has your best interests and wants to sincerely give you advice, it should be through a private message and it should be in a gentle, kind, respectful way. So I think when we see those like vicious comments on social media, obviously don't leave a vicious comment on social
Right,
media, but
right.
like if you are, if you have posted something on social media and it's getting all of this like hate, or even you're like looking through the comments, like just don't indulge it, don't engage with it. Like, let's not give that any attention. When we give it attention, we're like feeding it, This is what they want. They want
Mhm.
us to have like debates and they want us to get mad and they want us to
Mhm.
engage with them. Like, let's just ignore these red pill
Mhm.
Muslim men.
Mhm.
Like, let them go back to their hole
Yeah.
and let's ignore them. Stop giving them attention. Stop giving them a platform. Like, let's lean into positivity.
Mhm.
So I think that's like one thing, and I know that that's easier said than done. Like,
Mhm.
it's challenging not to see what's going on, what's out there. But yeah, let's stop giving these men a platform
Mhm.
to spread misinformation and oppress women.
Mhm.
I think that's one thing. I think another thing is let's continue to create positive spaces and community for Muslim women. So I think having a really great circle of friends who are
Mhm.
Muslim women, like is so important.
Yep.
So we can empower one another. Like when we continue to seek out male validation as women, and this is in no way saying that whatever's happening out there is women's fault or Muslim
Right.
women's fault.
Yeah.
That is not what I am saying. But what I am saying is like when we are constantly letting men be authorities in this space, and when we
Mhm.
continue to let them have a platform and we continue to like seek their approval and validation,
Yeah.
that's, going to continue perpetuating this issue.
Yeah.
Let's have spaces just for Muslim women where we have community and we have positivity, encouragement, love. Like those are the spaces where I think we can flourish. And that's not to say that this, negativity doesn't exist in circles with Muslim women as well, because I'm sure it does. We all know like the stereotypical auntie who's like criticizing all the young girls and telling them that they're wearing too much makeup and
Right.
commenting like obviously that exists in among women as well,
Right.
but I think my message is always like find your people, find the people who don't do that,
Right.
find the people who make you feel good, who uplift yourself, and lean into those communities. Lean into the community of women who are encouraging each other and who make you feel good, and lean away from the like red pill male perspective that's being perpetuated. Don't engage with them, don't argue with them. Let them have their own corner of the internet,
Right.
and stop giving them a platform. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I would agree, right? Let's utilize that report and block button, right? Report accounts who are leaving nasty, hateful comments for harassment, right?
Yeah.
And use the block button, right? Delete comments, right? That don't serve the purpose of building community,
Yeah.
especially on social media, right? And then I think framing and decentering men has long been a conversation on social media amongst Muslim women communities, but I highly encourage anybody listening to be thinking about how they are decentering men in their life. Are you thinking about what hobbies and things that you like to do and like to engage in? Thinking about what the religion means to you, how you want to connect to it from a spiritual perspective, and identifying what you want to see in your life, right? And then I think from there, you can begin to ideate on what you believe is the perfect Muslim woman that no longer stems from that toxic archetype that is doing so much harm to Muslim women. And to also remember that, no one is perfect, right?
Exactly.
And if you are feeling like you're not moving in the direction that you want to go to, know that it takes time to get to any point of improvement, right? And that can be slow and an uphill battle. So, be kind to yourself, right? If you are someone who's taken off the hijab because you felt too much pressure around wearing it, think about just wearing it on Fridays, right? On one day, right? Figure out small things that you can do to improve yourself individually. You are connected to the hijab for a fashion purpose, or you're connected to the hijab because your family is really encouraging you. Figure out your own reason to connect to the religion and the purpose of the hijab, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that's the only thing that people are dealing with, but that's what is kind of prominent and top of mind right now.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
Yeah. I mean, you said there's no perfect person, right?
Yeah.
There is no perfect Muslim woman. Perfection doesn't exist in human beings. So let go of the idea that any of us will ever be perfect and be gentle and kind to yourself, which I think was the message that you were kind of leaving. But also remember, why are you doing this? Why are you wearing the hijab?
Yeah.
Why are you praying? Why are you reading Quran? None of this is for the sake of other people. This is all for the sake of Allah. And I think sometimes we forget that when there's so much external pressure coming from the people around us. We're not wearing hijab because somebody told us to wear hijab. We're not doing it to please other people. It should always be that we're trying to please Allah. So I think remember why and renew your intention as to why you are doing something or wearing something. I would encourage everyone to reflect on what is the reason for doing this. And if the answer is not for Allah, then I think you need to really rethink what's happening. Because when your relationship with Allah and Islam is strong, all of that external chatter just fades into the background. When you have done your research and your due diligence about Islam, and this is, I am doing this because I believe in Islam, then focus on that and don't let the outside chatter get into your head. Don't let these men who claim that they have, expertise or religious knowledge tell you that if you're a woman, you have to stay home.
Right.
Obviously, that is a harmful thing to say. Look back at the Sunnah, look back at our religious teachings, and see women left the house.
Right.
Women did things. It's to say that women should just stay home is inaccurate and inauthentic to what we have been taught in our religion. Of course, women are taught and men are taught to interact with people through a modest lens, to be decent with our character, to be kind, to be good. But nowhere in our religion does it ever say women have to stay home and they cannot leave the house. If someone is telling you that, something is wrong. So I think that do your research. Education is always the most important thing. Education will set you free. Know why you're doing these things, know where it's coming from, and let everyone else's criticism and chatter kind of fade away. And if someone does come to you and say, I want to advise you on a certain matter, and it sounds a little weird, look into that, do research. All of us need to do our due diligence and our research to really understand where are these things coming from. You don't just trust someone because they said, oh, I heard this one thing. That's not a trustworthy source. In Islam, there is a whole method of hadith recordings, and there's levels of trustworthiness when it comes to hadith, and level of understanding. We don't just trust something because some random person said it. Do your research, understand where it's coming from, lean into like the importance of education, and I think, that's the most important thing.
All right, great. I think that's it for this segment. And we will be right back to read your listener letters. So we are back with your listener letters. If you would like us to read your listener letters on the podcast, you can send an email to girlprayonitpod@gmail.com, and we might just read it on the podcast.
Indeed.
All right. So this is something that I've been pondering for a long time. I'm a hijabi. I wear hijab 95% of the time. But there is about 5% of the time where I don't wear hijab, such as when I go to the non-gender segregated salon or when I spend time with my family. Most of my family are not blood related and wouldn't be considered mahram. When I'm covered in grime from cleaning and want to quickly take out the trash, etc., etc. I saw a post online where a hijabi wanted to take her hijab off while giving birth in the hospital, and the comments were arguing about whether or not she was a hijabi. Why is hijab something that you have to be always perfect with? Sometimes I take my hijab off to get my hair done because I see the same stylist I had before I wore hijab. How is that different from someone who is out with their friends when the adhan goes off and chooses to keep hanging out? How is that different from using a firm to buy a couch for your new apartment? How is that different from disobeying your parents? Why is hijab something that women always have to be perfect at? If a woman decides even for a day that she doesn't want to wear the hijab, that should be between her and Allah. I do not think that hijab as a command from Allah is oppressive to women or intended to control women, but I sometimes think that societal beliefs and expectations around hijab are oppressive and controlling. I don't know. I have just been thinking about this. I don't plan on taking my hijab off. I only recently put it on and I love my hijab, but these thoughts are plaguing me. Definitely, we both understand and empathize with the experience of being a hijabi,
Of course.
and feeling like you always have to be perfect and that there's no like wiggle room to have a little bit of imperfection, right? And so what I would say to you is try not to, as much as you can, listen to the dissenting voices and kind of, if you can, filter those out of your life, whether that's on Instagram or TikTok or in real life. And for anyone who like has something to say about the way in which you wear hijab, if it's not perfect, just say like, thank you for your concern. I'm doing what's best for me right now, and that should be good enough, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all trying and we're striving and we're all at different points in our modesty journey, right? And we all know, what is like correct hijab, right? And what we should be striving towards. And so like the extra comments and commentary is really not needed. And so I would just encourage you to try and, as much as possible, filter those out of your online life and in your real life, and try to be okay with imperfection, right? And start with, I'm doing as best I can and as much as I can, and that has to be good enough right now.
You asked why is it so much bigger of a deal if a woman doesn't observe hijab 100% of the time compared to other, I guess, like sins or minor sins that you're talking about, such as like delaying prayer or whatever it might be? And the answer is like there is not a difference. Like we just, based on everything we've been talking about, throughout this podcast, is just that women are held to a different standard than men. I think you made an excellent point that you had shared. Why is it any different if I don't wear hijab, 5% of the time versus if someone were to use like a financing app and to engage in interest? Like if it's something that we're not supposed to be doing according to the tenets of Islam, like that is what it is. I guess in our religion, we believe there are levels of sins, right? Like not all sins are equal, but like the point that you are bringing up is just that there obviously is a double standard when it comes to the hijab versus other things that we're not supposed to be doing.
Right, yeah.
And I think in my practice as a mental health counselor, we see a lot that people in general, not just Muslims, human beings, have this very black and white thinking, this all or nothing thinking, we call it, where it's either 100% or it's 0%. So you either wear hijab 100% of the time, or you should just not wear it at all, and you should just be, you're not a hijabi. And I think obviously that can be a very harmful attitude. We should be encouraging women to wear hijab, even if it's 5% of the time, even if it's 20% of the time, even if it's 50% of the time, 75% of the time. We should be encouraging that as opposed to 0% of the time.
Right.
Something is better than nothing.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so I think a lot of people get this idea in their head where it has to be perfect or it's nothing and my efforts are wasted. Your effort is your effort. Your intention is your intention. The fact that you are at 95% is amazing, and you can keep trying and working toward getting to that 100%. But I think just remember that it's not all or nothing, and that we're always striving to be better, and we're always striving for that 100%, but none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Just because you're at 90% doesn't mean you should go to 0. It means we keep striving and we keep working toward that 100, and eventually we can get there. But nobody is perfect, and sometimes it's, takes longer for people, and sometimes it takes shorter for people. But at the end of the day, as you had mentioned, we know what we're supposed to be doing, and sometimes we struggle with that, and it's okay to struggle, but it's not all or nothing. It's not 100 or 0. You keep pushing yourself and working toward that 100, knowing that, it may not be 100% of the time.
All right, I think that's it. So, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think we got it.
All right, cool. So, if you have a question, query, or problem that you'd like us to give our 2 cents on, you can send an email to girlprayonitpod@gmail.com. And I think that is it for this segment. So now's the point in the podcast where I look at the camera and I rant about something that is bothering me that day, that week, or that month, whatever. And today, since we're on the topic of the Haram police, might as well keep talking about the Haram police. And this is specifically men who stay in women's business. I don't understand it. Are you a woman? No. Okay. So then you shouldn't be advising us on our business, right? Leave that to the women scholars in Islam. I don't want to hear a man's opinion about, well, really, I don't want to hear a man's opinion about anything. But I certainly don't want to hear a man's opinion about women's business unless you are a certified scholar. I am so tired of seeing men on TikTok talking about women's business, talking about the hijab, talking about women's characteristics and things of that nature. Really, the only thing you should be worried about is a job, right? Go get a job, go do something, and you should probably stay out of our business, because when was the last time a man has ever contributed to women's business and it been helpful? Right, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Never. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think, like, if you are a man, you've never worn hijab before, you don't know the struggles, the trials of wearing hijab, you don't know what it feels like, let women talk about it. Let women scholars and, sheikhas be the ones to comment on it, and stay in your lane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay in your lane. And it's so unattractive to see a man who you thought, oh, this is a cute guy, right? And then you go and you see that he's all over the TikToks, all over the videos, commenting on women's pages, talking about that, sister, in Islam, we are meant to give nasiha, and that's not the right way to give. That's not the right way to wear hijab. Like, I don't understand it. And then, in addition to that, we talked about this earlier. We talked about the T app, right? Then there have been some updates with the T app. Then
What is the T app?
Remember I told you about the T app? The T app where there was all these women talking about, like, giving ratings to guys and, like, giving them, like, green flags or red flags
Oh, yeah.
to, like, help protect other women from like abusive a-holes, right? And the whole purpose of that was so that women could protect themselves and make good decisions when it came time to either dating that person if they're not Muslim or marrying that person, right? And it's been particularly fruitful in the Muslim communities where men have been dating Muslims and non-Muslims and getting into all types of shenanigans. And so that's what I talked about last time.
Yeah.
But the development is that a man made a reverse T-app, right? Where they can talk about the women, right? Yeah. And then that got shut down because the men just started sharing news. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Because yeah, exactly. But then more than that, the T-app, some incel somewhere in his grandma's basement decided that he was going to hack into the T-app and release all of the photo IDs of the women who are on there. Because in order to be on the T-app, you actually have to take a picture of yourself and then also take a picture of your photo ID. So he released all of a database and put it on a map, on a searchable map of all the women who are on the T-app and their home addresses and their faces. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then now there are Muslim men on TikTok talking about, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad they got exposed. And the whole purpose was for us to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And here y'all are coming again into Muslim women's business and trying to expose us for trying to protect other women in the community.
And now putting women in danger.
In danger, yeah.
Y'all can't just let us have one thing.
No, never. Because
I don't know. I feel like crying. I'm like so upset by this.
Yeah,
like, it's really so upsetting.
Yeah, it is. It is really upsetting. And imagine all those women who had all their information shared, right? Simply because they wanted to warn other women about men who are low down, dirty, abusive a-holes who don't deserve to be platformed and to they deserve accountability. That's what they deserve. And the minute that we get that, Muslim men, here they come, and they're like, yeah, this is a good thing that these Muslim women got exposed. Here you are in women's business once again, and you're endangering women. So why would women want to be with you when you don't do anything to defend us?
Yeah.
And you don't do anything to protect us.
Yeah.
But in fact, you remain in our business and you want to have all this commentary on it.
Yeah.
You're not adding anything to our lives.
I mean, really, they're just telling on themselves. You're just making yourself look bad.
Right.
No woman is going to want to be with you or respect you when you say these kinds of things and you do these kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I want? This is why we need women in STEM, okay? So we can have more hackers, right? Because we need hackers to go ahead and unearth these Haram police online, figure out who they are, and put them on a database, okay? Let's have a database of the Haram police. That you heard it here first, okay?
Yeah,
That's my idea to whatever future hackers out there.
Yeah.
Make a Haram police database. I'll be the first one to sign up and send people your way, because I don't believe that we should be able to ruin people's lives from behind a screen.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, say it with your chest, like I do. If I'm a hater, I'm gonna hate you to your face. That's the type of person I am, okay? And I'm not generally, actually, no, I am a hater. I'm definitely a hater. But, I'm an open, honest, candid hater. And so you'll know why I hate you or why I hate the thing that you're doing, right? But we have these Haram police who they've gotten comfortable, and I feel like we need to start exposing them.
I think we need to boycott them. I think we should have
How are you going to boycott a Haram police?
Like you said, we create a registry of
okay.
Haram police and suss out the people who are, coming to the comment section with this vitriol and this viciousness. And then we're going to boycott them. We're not going to use their services. We're not going to give them platforms. We're not going to indulge it.
Yeah.
I think we need to just straight up boycott. I think we need to boycott the podcasts of men.
Not ours, though.
Not ours.
Not ours.
The men who just spout misogyny. I think
I agree.
they need to have their podcasts revoked.
Oh yeah, you should have I believe that if you're a man and you want to start a podcast, you should go through some sort of licenseship, right? To be able to own a mic and be like,
Yeah.
what are your opinions? Tell us now.
Yeah.
And then it's like every year you get checked on whether or not you still deserve
Right.
to continue that podcast.
Like gun
Yeah.
control, but
Well, better. Better, probably.
works with podcasts.
Yeah.
You have to submit a form. You have
Yeah.
to go through a vetting process in order
Exactly.
to have a platform.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
You have talked a lot about Muslim men and
Mhm.
sort of the spewing of this sort of women should be at home, women should
Right.
not be seen. I haven't seen that, but like I definitely
You're
have.
so lucky.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm on the good part of social media.
I guess so.
The
Yeah.
ones with the rainbows and the kitties.
And the sunshine.
And the
yeah.
sunshine. But anyway, I haven't seen that as much, but I have seen just a lot of like white Christian men, evangelical men
Okay.
who are talking about similar topics
Yeah.
on their podcasts. And I did see one clip of a man saying what a woman's aspirations should be in life.
Which is what to
And
be a
he
was
was, yes,
Yeah, of
talking about
course.
how a woman's priority should be in college, should be finding a husband.
Mhm.
And I think men should not be allowed to tell women what their aspiration in life should be.
There you go. Women in men's business.
Yeah.
That's just a problem in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
But like I think the problem is that they're just so obsessed with us. Like I think
I mean,
yeah, who wouldn't want to be, right? But like I think particularly with the men, I think for some reason, even though half of you guys are out there having sex with other women, right? Something about the horniness and the like Muslim men just something it rewires their brain and then they just become obsessed with us. No, sister, you should be wearing abaya. Like, I'm sorry, my ankles should not be arousing you at this moment, but like, I'm really sorry, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's something men need therapy, but like more than that, like I think men really need to be thinking about why they are so obsessed with women.
yeah, totally. I think that is so true. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't know what it feels like. I can't comment on that experience. But using your temptations and using your own struggles in order to tell women how they should behave and
Mhm.
dress just feels plain wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it is right. And then this is how we get the Haram police who are out here talking to women, telling them you're not wearing hijab correctly on a video about a woman who's talking about she wants to take off her hijab.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, either come with encouragement or
Stay away.
scroll on by.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Keep it
we don't
moving.
need you.
Exactly. We definitely don't need you, but like to the left, to the left.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add?
Sisters, we're here for you. We got you. You know, this is a space for you. How ironic would it be if we got like a bunch of hate on this video and it just proved our point?
We could just have our Dina Tokyo moment.
What's that?
Remember there was a video where she like read through all of her mean, hateful comments?
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
Like vaguely. I don't think I watched it, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So Dina Tokyo, she was like hijabi influencer,
Mhm.
and she was always getting all these like hate comments on the way in which she would wear her hijab, and then because she also often wore turbans and she had like hair out and like you could see her neck and stuff like that or whatever. And then eventually she decided to take off her hijab, and at the beginning of that decision, she went through and it was like an hour-long YouTube video where she just read all of the hate comments, like not even all of them, just like several of them from like her last few videos.
Yeah.
And it was just all of these men talking about like just vile stuff, right? Where she just like embarrassed the shit out of them. Excuse my French. But like just reading the hate comment. We can have our own hate comment reading video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't need to, but
Might be fun.
honestly, I feel like I'm almost expecting it. You know,
Really?
I feel like I expect that people, because I just like, after everything we're talking about, I have so little faith
Mm.
in like people that
Mhm.
like I wouldn't be surprised if we got a bunch of hate comments.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get hate. Well, okay. I don't think we'll get a ton of hate comments because I'm gonna be block. Miss block. Block. Have you seen that video? It's like Facebook block, Instagram block,
No.
block, 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 block. Yeah, that's gonna be me. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
They know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
This is a space for Muslim women.
Yeah.
And this is our intention in creating this podcast was to create a community
Mhm.
for Muslim women and to talk about the challenges that us as Muslim women face.
Mhm.
And so if you are not a Muslim woman, you are still welcome to listen to the podcast, but
Well,
you
she's
are
welcoming you.
not welcome to
Yeah.
leave hate comments. If you have genuine questions or
Yeah.
genuine topics that you want to discuss, that's fine.
Yeah.
But leave the hate at home.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not a safe space for men. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
All right.
All right.
I think that's it for this episode of the podcast. And we will see you guys on the next episode of Girl Pray on It. All right. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for tuning in to the Girl Pray on It podcast. We hope today's conversation gave you something to reflect on. Be sure to follow us on both Instagram and TikTok at Girl Pray on It Pod. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Girl Pray on It Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen, so you'll always be up to date with our newest episodes. Stay connected, stay encouraged, and as always, Girl Pray on It.